people are questioning, are booster shots even necessary if they are not immunocompromised?
The answer to the booster shot is that actually there's no hard evidence that does any good at this point in time. I think at some point we will all need booster shots, without a doubt. This is a question of when. The only evidence that seemed to point towards a third dose being advantageous is in the immunocompromised. That one, the evidence is clear. I think there's no harm in vaccinating above 60 years old if we want to proceed. I'll be a bit worried if we push this down the age group to the younger adults, because I don't think that not only would it do any good, it probably will do harm at this point in time. Because already the second dose gave quite a lot of side effects. I'm not sure what the third dose is going to do.
More amongst younger people, yes, or across all age groups?
Amongst younger people. This discussion about whether we need boosters or not depends a lot on what we expect the vaccine to do, what we want to get out of the vaccine. The ability of the vaccine to stop severe disease is still very good. You're talking about 90% effectiveness and efficacy, right? So, in all the data that's come out so far, it really, that part of the equation hasn't waned. What has waned is the ability of the vaccine to prevent infection. The gray area is this idea that the vaccine can also stop disease entirely, right? So you will get asymptomatic infection, or let alone no infection. I think that part delta changed the equation. The body has learned to protect ourselves in a form of memory. So when you see the virus again, it will recall this memory and it will mount an immune response. But that memory recall takes a few days. And so it becomes a race between the immune system and delta. So you may start falling sick. But once the immune system catches up, it stops the disease progression. And that's why the severe end is still very good. What we're losing is this early end, right? And the early end, probably you need that high level of antibody to prevent symptomatic illness to begin. We need to be cautious about what the booster shot can and cannot do. Right? I think the idea that we can get the antibody levels high enough so that we can prevent acute disease, this fever and all that, but even then, you stop getting the severe disease, or let alone infection. I'm not sure that it can be sustained. You will get that, but for a short time. But how long is where the uncertainty is. We have to be careful about thinking that a booster shot is going to solve all our problem. This thing is going to go on and on for quite a bit.
Unless you have a booster every few months.
Right. Which is probably difficult to sustain.
Right.
And keeping the immune system activated and keep seeing the same antigen has its price. The price is that the immune system can sometimes think that you are trying to educate it to tolerate this. That becomes a disaster. It starts to switch off.
So then it doesn't work as well.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we have to be careful about how often we boost the population.
I have one last question on booster, which several people have asked, booster shots. They're asking, should they take the same shot that they had the first 2 times, or should they switch to a different vaccine? Would that give them better protection?
In terms of the evidence so far, because the efficacy of the mRNA vaccines, so Pfizer's and Moderna's, have been so high that if you give any other forms of vaccine as a second dose, because nobody has done the study for third dose in this way, there's no benefit because it's already close to maximum. So I think given that we have what we have, it is perfectly fine to go with, if you got 2 doses of Pfizer, to go with Pfizer as a third shot as well, or Moderna. I don't think it's going to make much difference. I think the difference will only come when we have the new variant vaccines, where we change the sequence of the spike. And that's undergoing clinical trials right now. Once those vaccines come into play, that may change the equation a bit. Then giving slightly different vaccines may be helpful. But given what is licensed right now, that there's no need to change vaccines.
So those wouldn't be commercially available for till next year?
We'll see. I think the trials are ongoing now.
Right.
See how fast they get through.